All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is daily vlog number 288. There we go. Math is hard. So today, I feel like absolute dog shit, which is for fun, but I actually have something cool. I need another drink. The water helps with the nausea. Not by much, but a little bit. Damn, I feel real bad. So, Demiplane. If anyone hasn't heard me to talk about it before, Demiplane is basically D&D Beyond for not D&D. It's an online resource for a bunch of different tabletop RPGs, and I absolutely adore it. There we go. Right now, the games that exist, they have a playtest of Starfinder 2nd Edition, but then they also have the Marvel Multiverse RPG, Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning. They do have a D&D 5th Edition Nexus, which I find hilarious, because it's D&D Beyond, except not D&D, except you can also get D&D on it. They're doing a plays test of the Cosmere RPG. There's Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Daggerheart's on there, Avatar Legends is on there, which is how I first found out about it. The Alien RPG is on there, Mutant Year Zero is on there, and Candela Obscura is on there. However, they have just added something new, and that is the Cyberpunk Red Nexus. If you are unfamiliar with Cyberpunk came out, I want to say the late 80s. Nowadays, most people are familiar with it for one of two reasons. One, Cyberpunk 2077, the game that came out, was actually based on the tabletop RPG, and it had Keanu Reeves in it, and so everybody loved it. Except nobody loved it when it launched, because it launched really, really broken. But a few years down the line, it's actually a phenomenal game. They fixed most of the bugs. They added an amazing expansion to it. It's a great game. But the other reason people will know about Cyberpunk is there is a Netflix series called Cyberpunk Edgerunners that is phenomenal. And fun fact, Cyberpunk Edgerunners came out like a year or two after Cyberpunk 2077. And again, when 2077 launched, it got blasted by reviewers. It crashed a bunch of computers. Like, it was really, really rough. And they actually had to take it off the store for a little bit. Like, it was real bad. And they eventually had patches and stuff that fixed most of the stuff that people didn't like. But by that time, the reviews were in. People had already had bad experiences with it. All of its numbers dropped like a rock. Until Edgerunners came out. And everyone, this is really, really cool. You know what? I wonder how that Cyberpunk game that came out a while ago is. And then it saw this massive, massive increase in the player base. And again, by that time, the game was really good. And so, yeah, shortly after that, they released an expansion that did relatively well as well. But anyway, Cyberpunk 2077 was actually based on the Cyberpunk RPG that, again, I think came out in the late 80s. I'm going to go... If I remember correctly, the original version... Yeah, it came out in 1988. God, it makes me feel old. So it started... It started as just, I think, Cyberpunk, but the second edition of it was called Cyberpunk 2020. And Yeah. So it's first Cyberpunk. Maybe it was Cyberpunk 2013 was with the first one, and then Cyberpunk 2020, and then Cyberpunk version 3.0, and then Cyberpunk Red is the newest version of it. It came out in 2020, which is funny because, again, the 1990s version of it was Cyberpunk 2020. And that one, the 1990s version, is by far the most long-lived. So most people that are familiar with the Cyberpunk tabletop game are familiar with Cyberpunk 2020 because, again, it was published in 1990, and version 3.0 didn't come out until 2005. So 2020 was the quote-unquote current system for 15 years, which is longer than any edition of D&D. Most people are familiar with Cyberpunk 2020. If I remember correctly, Cyberpunk 3.0 was not particularly well liked compared to 2020. And everything I've heard about Cyberpunk Red, I'm not. I don't own Cyberpunk Red, and or no, I do. I think I do own Cyberpunk Red. I got it. I own a version of Cyberpunk. Let me look. RPGs, Cyberpunk. Oh yeah, I've got Cyberpunk 2020. So yeah, I don't have Cyberpunk Red, but I do have Cyberpunk 2020, which again is a nonsense, interesting system. Very, very crunchy. Cyberpunk to the 2020 feels almost like it took some of its inspiration from GURPS, just with all the different systems that are built into it. I think Cyberpunk Red is not quite as crunchy, but the reason I'm saying this and making this video is you can now get all the books digitally, or at least some of the books. I'm actually not sure how many Cyberpunk Red books there are, but right now on the who's you what's it on the Nexus, you can get the core book. You for free they have what's called Easy Mode, which is their starter kit. You can get the Edge Runners Missions kit, and then you can also get Black Chrome for it. And then there's also, they have two things that they call DNC, which is, or DLC, which is Night City Weather and Toggle's Template, which I don't know what they are, but I believe they're Demiplane exclusive stuff. But yeah, so now if you want, I've said this before, I really, really like Demiplane. I think it's a really solid platform. I have all of my Avatar Legend books on the Demiplane because part of me backing the Kickstarter, I also got digital copies of everything on Demiplane, which is really, really nice because the character builder on Demiplane is great. And then when the playtest for Daggerheart came out, I did all my character creation on Demiplane because it's just a really, really, it's just a really, really good platform. And again, I like D&D Beyond because it's super easy to use. And Demiplane is just about as easy as D&D Beyond, just for not D&D games. So yeah, I figured I would make mention of it to you guys if you're interested in trying, again, something that's very much not D&D. Though again, I haven't looked at Cyberpunk Red. And I know a lot of the old school TTRPGs that are kind of updating now that 5th edition is so popular have taken some inspiration, let's say, from 5th edition. So I don't know if Cyberpunk Red plays significantly more like 5th edition than previous versions of the game. But it always was and has been a really interesting cyberpunk tabletop RPG. Like, you live in a kind of dystopian society that's hyper technology, and you can like get augments, and you can like you can do things like you can get razor wire installed in your fingertips so that you can basically like just have these like monofilament whips that come out of your fingertips, and you can use it to like garrote people and attack them. Or even more fun, you can have one of your limbs replaced so that there's a hidden rifle in it, or you can get like hidden swords in your arms and legs and stuff. Like you can get rocket launchers in your knees, and like it's a nonsense crazy kind of system where you really, really can create these really crazy characters. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I was thinking about just doing a real quick, I feel like shit video, but I had something I could talk about. So, yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be better. We'll see you guys in the next time. Link to the Nexus will be in the description. Bye-bye.